It is 10:20 on a Saturday night. I am Anavrin.
This is Varek.
And you are listening to Falls Canada Anywhere, podcast number 2.
Dose.
Hey Varek, how's everything going?
It's been a rocky weekend so far. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Alright. It's one of those things where the weekend should be a time where you don't have to worry about shit. You should just enjoy it, have fun. You don't have to work. You don't have to take care of anything important. Just if you gotta clean up maybe a little bit, and not even a lot. Do a little bit. Save the rest for next weekend. It's gonna be there anyway. You shouldn't have to stress. We're doing this at 10:20 for a specific reason. The biggest being that my phone died just out of nowhere in the middle of the evening, afternoon technically. Because of that, I couldn't get in touch with you, and I didn't think to make everyone else that I knew get in touch with you.
We're out here in Clint, Texas.
Google it.
The whole thing was we were going to record around 5 o'clock.
Ish. Were you actually here at 5? Just out of curiosity?
I was here at 5:20.
Okay, so not as early as you could have been, so I feel a little less bad, but not much less bad. Just a little less bad. Noonish, we go in for a game of D&D. Not an average myself, but myself and some other homies. We're playing a game of D&D. We've got 3 hours, because we had to be there by 1. At some point, my phone dies, 4:15, 4:20 rolls around, and we're done here. I think I realized at about 3:50 that my phone wasn't on, and I thought, that's weird. I could swear I didn't turn it off. It's, the screen's off, whatever. I realized that this is a problem 10 minutes later when I'm still fidgeting with it, and it's not coming back on, and I'm like, and Avron's probably gonna be telling me that he's on his way soon, or out of work, any number of things, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty broken. So that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is I carpooled there, not in my car. And the person who took me was like, we're going to go do something afterwards. And I said, sure, that shouldn't take too long. Not a big deal. But on a weekend, when I shouldn't have to stress about anything, this was highly stressful. Especially because that made me literally 2 hours late. Yeah, because I did have to go buy a new phone, which I'm not enthused about. I want to throw a bottle right now. And I've got tons of bottles to
Speaking of bottles, last podcast we went through a full 24 pack, maybe a little bit more, maybe even
24 beers plus that Broken Skull IPA.
As you can tell, towards the end of the podcast, I was slurring a lot.
I don't think so, man. I think you did a really good editing job on there. Credit to the editor on that one.
All right, guys. So on today's show, what we're looking at: XCW Wrestling, Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor, WrestleMania 33 from Orlando, Florida. We're going to talk a little bit about Broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero, the whole direction that WWE might be going, the Superstar Shakeup, and whatever else that we can come up with. XCW Wrestling.
What is XCW Wrestling?
XCW Wrestling is a local promotion.
It's in the Southwest region. We're down by the border. Las Cruces is like an hour away from us. So it's not like Eastern or West Coast. Just like a Southwest thing.
And they have shows every so often. Now, we do have another wrestling organization called New Era Wrestling. Mm-hmm. They have shows every Friday in the Northeast El Paso area. Support your local wrestling.
We talked a little bit about this last time when you went to go see Jake the Snake Roberts. It's important not just to support your special events like that, like someone like Mick Foley or whoever coming through. If you have a local scene, there's only one way it's going to stay that way or stay up and running and give you something to do. It's literally to go see them. And from what I understand, and to my detriment, I didn't go. I know I sound like a lame ass 2 weeks in a row, but in my defense, these podcasts were not recorded back to back on a weekly basis. But yes, you got to support them. I feel bad for not having done that. Whereas a lot of people will say, oh, well, I don't really want to go out. I don't know who these wrestlers are. You only get to know those types of things from going and seeing them.
XCW I actually got into from a friend of mine, Tom Puppet is his handle. He actually puts up the XCW wrestling on YouTube. So we'll go ahead and put a link below. That way you can go ahead and catch
cool.
XCW depending on where you are in the United States.
I will definitely also check that out, actually. I'm losing them. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got NXT TakeOver Orlando, quick plug, going in the background. Boom, Aleister Black is making his entrance. Not only do I recognize the music, it's a cool fucking entrance, and I love that music. Is the music good? No, but I have shitty taste in music. Anyway,
XCW, their product is where they're trying to make it kind of like WWE.
Yes.
You have the promos, you have the wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
you have the crowd interaction goes crazy. People get into it, they're
Sure.
yelling.
It's like a house show, I would imagine.
Yeah, everyone gets into it. And the tickets are not that expensive. $10 for adults, $5 for children.
Which isn't bad because I think I'm under the impression you talked a little bit about going to a Ring of Honor show, which we'll touch on later. But you said it was $25 a piece, right?
Correct.
And you said for NXT, TakeOver specifically, it was $85.
$85, right.
Now, those don't sound super expensive to me, again, because it's TakeOver. But going down to Ring of Honor, $25 sounds reasonable no matter what you're doing. And $10 for like, how long was it? 3 hours? No, but I'm just saying, like a video game, no matter what it is, you spend like $60, $70 on it. And, if you play it for, 90 hours, yeah, you're coming out like less than $1 an hour. But I mean, $3 an hour? Come on. And you get, like, not just a memory. Theoretically, you can come out making friends. Like, those are fairly friendly places. Everyone there loves wrestling,
Right.
Even when we went to go see NXT in Austin. Like, we met that little kid there. Now, granted, I'm not going to, like, Facebook him or whatever. But I was like, what up, homie? And he was fairly friendly with us. We were all cheering for the same people. Granted, he might have been a little weirdo. He might be a little psycho. I don't know. He was talking to us. We were, like, 30 fucking years old. Like...
Wrestling is ageless at that point.
Ageless, yeah. So much so that his parents thought, I'll drop him off there. F it.
Right. Go home with those guys. It's fine.
I don't think they would have yelled that. I know I would not have tolerated it. Fuck JBL. Hashtag that. You give it a hash brown, whatever you need to do. I don't want to be too aggressive about it, because I'm a massive bully myself. My problem is not that he bullies people, it's that the company is okay with him doing that, especially to someone who has, like, it's not even a disability, but it's not even differently abled. But when someone's diagnosed with some sort of, I think, any kind of mental, is it okay to call it an illness? Depression, I think, is a big deal because not a lot of people know how to handle it. Sometimes even the people who had it. When you get allegedly, I'm going to throw this out because I don't want to get sued. When you're allegedly bullying someone because everyone says, oh, it's fine, give him the business, but that guy's depressed clinically, then there's something wrong with that kind of culture. And I don't want to get too political or too ridiculous with my views, but I will say this. JBL isn't that good a commentator. So I think objectively, not even subject, I don't think there are many people on the planet who would argue that he's a great commentator. I think you can afford to lose him, especially since one of WWE's charities is Be a Star, which is don't be a bully. And look, as a bully, that hurts. But I'm gonna tell you right now that I guess I do kind of bully people a little too hard. I'm gonna rethink my ways. Still, FJBL hashtag. But yeah, not a lot of people were like, oh, JBL's my favorite, Randy Orton's my favorite. No, John Cena, you can't see me, whatever. I missed all that. We talked a little bit last episode about when I completely dropped out of wrestling. It was in that era, and I'm okay with that. It's just like, so it's like now you've got multiple faces. You've got people like AJ Styles. You still have John Cena. He's still a big name, but you've got people like AJ Styles. You've got Shinsuke Nakamura just debuted a couple weeks ago on him. He hasn't done anything, so we're not messing up by not having recorded 2 weeks ago. Shinsuke Nakamura's up there now. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, those guys are all on one show. You've got people like Braun Strowman is finally the face of Raw. And I don't mean face like the good guy. He's like a face heel, but people are finally Braun Strowman's here. And that you've got tons of guys now, finally, just like in the Attitude Era, who are able to pick up the slack and put this company on their shoulders. You've got tons of people who are recognizable. I don't think that's a bad deal.
For now, though, we're going to go into Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor.
Sure. Real quick, we'll just button that segment up with, again, support your local scene, baller status.
Exactly.
But the Ring of Honor Supercard, we literally just watched it. You'd already seen it. You were there. Again, this guy was there. People don't remember that I guess they would if they listened to these back to back. But you went to Orlando. When did you go to Orlando?
It was WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, I love that he doesn't even say April 1st. No, it's fucking WrestleMania weekend. You know that shit. And if you don't, Google it.
Yes,
That's gonna be my
WrestleMania
fucking
weekend.
catchphrase. Can I put that on the shirt?
You should wear that shit.
Will I get sued?
No, you won't.
No. WrestleMania weekend. So you were there for WrestleMania weekend. We kind of talked about how it. Did we? I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people. It becomes a wrestling mecca now. It's not even just WWE WrestleMania. There's like Ring of Honor goes there. I think WCPW, What Culture went there. What was the other one? NXT is there. All weekend is wrestling. Big sweaty men everywhere.
It is the Black Friday of wrestling.
You kind of turned me off of it with that one phrase. Let's not ever do that again. Black Friday. And not because it's black, but because Black Friday is a disgusting idea. So anyway, so you were there, you saw Ring of Honor. I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. You didn't have to choose, but Ring of Honor was the same night as NXT TakeOver. So
I went to the WWE Superstore.
Yes.
Prior to going to the Ring of Honor event.
Do you feel you have to clarify what that is? Because my idea of the Superstore is it's a big store full of merch.
It's the WWE shop.
Yes.
Extreme. With
In person.
more stuff, yes.
Yeah.
More stuff than what they carry on the website.
Oh, like they got the WWE dildos and stuff?
No.
No?
No.
Well, I immediately lost interest, I'm not gonna lie. Go on.
They
So
only have
there's
so
a lot
much
more
plastic.
stuff than... Oh, shit. So there's a lot more stuff than there is in the shop zone.
Yes, they do have the belts.
Yes.
They have the Money in the Bank. They have,
Can I interrupt real quick? Because I know that they didn't have it because it's spoiler. But did they have the new NXT belts there?
No, they did not.
Okay, I just had to ask because if you were like, they absolutely did, I would have been like, that's fucking bullshit.
No, they didn't have the belts there.
Okay, no, that's good. Because when they were like, we're going to debut new belts, I was like, why? And then we might get into that later. Go on. So you went to this super shop. Okay, now why is that pertinent?
Because
To let you know that, to let us know.
To let us know that I actually got to Ring of Honor Supercard an hour late.
Now, does that matter all that much? Honestly.
It does matter because if you ever go
Yes.
to the Superstore, make sure you have time to
Wait
go
in
and
line.
shop yourself, and then it's like any other amusement park or
Was it-
Black Friday event.
Was it like Hot Topic in the 90s?
Yes,
Like,
you have to wait to get to the register to purchase all your items.
yeah.
Okay, so after that, Varek had said Ring of Honor,
Yes.
NXT,
Yes.
$85 for NXT, Ring of Honor, $25. Then you go against the card. There's about
5 matches. We're actually watching NXT TakeOver Orlando again. Massive plug. We're not getting paid for that. I'm sorry. Yes, there are 5 matches. The ROH Supercard is literally a super card, right?
right.
That is literally like 8 or 9 matches.
Yes. So, I felt that Ring of Honor had the better card. I got to see Will Ospreay and Valedor Jr. versus Dragon Lee and Jay White.
Uh huh. Go on.
I saw the Briscoes
Sure.
and Bully Ray.
So a
versus
tag team match, 6-man tag team match. You said
For the
Briscoes and
title.
Bully Ray versus
Hangman Page,
Hangman Page.
Gorillas of Destiny,
Yes, God. Go on.
God,
No.
which are the Bullet Club.
I just learned that 10 seconds ago. I stole it from Adrian. Go
I
on.
did see the Texas Bull Rope match between Cody
Yeah.
versus Jay Lethal.
Mm-hmm.
The Ring of Honor World Television Championship match. The Villain, Marty Scurll,
I do like him.
versus
Yes.
Adam Cole. The Ring of Honor World Championship, Christopher Daniels versus Dalton Castle with The Boys.
The Boys.
And the last match was the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship ladder match between the Hardys, Jeff and Matt,
Mm-hmm.
versus the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson.
Now, I'm going to say this real quick. The whole Matt and Matt thing didn't necessarily screw me up, but I was like, Matt Hardy did the move, not Matt. What is his last name?
Jackson.
Jackson. Thank you. Not a big deal, but I was like, Matt and Matt. Matt and Matt.
Matt.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that's stupid shit. Okay, so those are the matches you did see. So you missed like 3 or 4 matches, right?
Right. I missed Cheeseburger.
I mean, I'm a big fan of cheeseburgers, so I can understand being disappointed. Okay, real quick. So that means you got to see, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you got to see 6 matches. You're kind of giving NXT grief for having 5 matches. We just saw Ring of Honor because you were adamant that I should check it out. It is actually good. It is serviceable. There were problems, Whereas NXT has problems where like you can tell someone's green. Ring of Honor had some production one that was a really. I mean, like when you're watching that and you see like a camera block another camera, it's like what the hell am I seeing? But aside from that, like when they mess up, it's kind of is it pacing? How do you denote that? Like those the tag match with Will Ospreay and Volador Jr. against Dragon Lee and Jay White. Good match, interesting. The only problem I really had was there were issues where the two luchadores, and I'll put that in quotations because one of them is unmasked. There were issues where they would start bouncing off the rope and then have to like immediately stop their momentum to do a move because they were waiting for the other guy to stop selling. Not necessarily that big an issue. It's not like someone dropped another person on their face. Still an issue where you're like, oh, there we go, move. Like, it was a little weird. So there were things noticeable like that in Ring of Honor. When you're there live, do you notice those things? Does it matter?
I think the adrenaline, and depending on where you're sitting,
sure,
you'll notice a little bit more or a little bit less.
Okay, yeah, that is a good point. Because the camera angle they used on that one was literally the worst, where you see them, it's almost like the hard camera angle, the fixed camera angle, where you see a guy bounce off the ropes on the right and then have to slow down as he walks to the left instead of run at it. Just a bad camera angle. So I was like, wow, that's pretty shitty. I guess if you're at a different angle, you're just like, oh, and then you're getting amped, as opposed to like, oh, you know what I mean? Where it's just, well, one, kind of ridiculous. Right. There were issues like that on Ring of Honor. NXT, I think, is inherently more polished, but that's because they're literally pushing these people to be like the next superstars. And production, we know, is usually flawless for NXT. Like, they've got the music down, the lighting cues down, camera angles down. Everyone knows where they look, generally, and where to do their moves, or how to do them and face the camera.
I do think Ring of Honor does have a lot of wrestlers that...
They've got great wrestlers. When I point out that one match, it's not because that was, like, the whole show. That's because that's the easiest one for me to pick on, because there are a lot of phenomenal wrestlers. There are tons of Bullet Club members in this thing, right? High caliber. I mean, like you're saying, just like high caliber guys. I've got this thing right here. No, high caliber wrestlers, like you were saying.
Right.
Not
Ring of Honor was fun.
Right. I mean, like, how could it not be? A live event, a big event, with tons of people who are just as passionate about it as you. Even if you don't know everything about all the storylines, I will give you this. Like, I didn't go, but I think NXT put up just as good a show, if not better, than ROH. I would put it up above it. And I will throw this caveat out. I haven't been watching NXT as fervently as I used to. I used to be all about NXT. They took all my favorite wrestlers out, so I'm watching SmackDown now. That's just the facts. But I'm watching it, you know, and I'm like, oh, like, Authors of Pain. You might not like them because they're just big dudes. But man, like the match they put on with like the Revival and DIY, awesome match, like show stealer. There weren't a lot of things that totally caught my eye in the ROH event, other than obviously the Hardys. That was a good match, long but a really cool ladder match. The match before, interesting characters. I wasn't familiar with Dalton Castle. I'd only heard of him, and I was watching it. I'm like, wow, that's flamboyant. That would be enough to make my dad stop watching TV. Is what that is, you know.
With the boys.
Oh, he would change the channel immediately. He doesn't even like the Boondock Saints, you know.
Well, I mean, Christopher Daniels has been there for oof.
I have a question about Christopher Daniels. Yeah, he does look like a vet. Well seasoned. I didn't see anything awry as he was wrestling. I didn't think there were any issues. Is his character racist?
I don't believe it is.
Because he is bald, skinhead, some would say. And then he comes out wearing something like an SS uniform. The only reason I don't think he is because of the guy liner he's rocking. The guy liner is, it denotes that he's not square, I guess. I don't know what the deal is with that. Is it to make him look younger?
I guess it could be. I mean, he debuted in '93.
Hey, man. All right, well, I thought you knew more about it than I did. I mean, that's fine. But as long as you had a good time, like, look, we could, like, we're not even sitting here really arguing the point anymore, because it's just, like, it's all good wrestling.
It is.
I'm just, like, NXT TakeOver, I think, is definitely worth the $85. Can't beat $25 for the ROH, though. Whereas, like I said, and well, I guess we both said, it's lacking in some production, i.e. music, the cameras move weird and stuff like that. Which, I say the cameras move weird because I'm actually watching a taped version of it.
How'd you like the Cody versus Jay Lethal match?
So, again, the matches themselves were fine. Watching that one was cool because I knew of Jay Lethal. I haven't seen any of his matches. Biggest thing that I took away from Cody and Jay Lethal was that Cody is, in and of himself, like, standing on his own. We spoke about this a little bit, and we'll just recap it real quick for anyone who obviously wasn't here. Just no one. People don't have to be in the WWE anymore to make a name for themselves wrestling. I mean, people who are in the know that, but random schmucks like myself, smarky smarks, walking around saying, like, I read something on the internet. Even I'm like, wow, like, I don't know. I've never seen the Young Bucks, but I know who they are. I know they're good because everyone talks about them. There they are. They're the Young Bucks. I'd buy a T-shirt rocking Young Bucks. The only reason I don't is because I don't want another equally smarky smart coming up to me and be like, oh, Young Bucks. And I'm like, yeah, too sweet. And they're like, that's the wrong guy. I'm like, my bad.
I think you'll be fine. Which is something that I was teaching my nephew the other day. I told him, Bullet Club, you see Bullet Club, you see Finn Balor, you see Gallows and Anderson,
AJ Styles,
you see any of those shirts from the Bullet Club, you walk up to them and you say, too sweet, bang! The woo will also work. You see anyone wearing anything Ric Flair or Charlotte Flair-esque, you literally just woo. I almost guarantee it's like a mating call. You'll hear 5 other woos go off randomly. And one in the distance.
The poor guy in the back. Woo. Yes, absolutely. No, it's good stuff. Just like the wrestling culture is growing. People aren't as closeted as they used to be. Like, people don't have to be ashamed of it anymore. Some of it's just cool stuff. Cody Rhodes, I think, just Cody, excuse me, allegedly, Rhodes. He's grown into a character in and of himself. Just like Matt Hardy became broken, got Brother Nero, that type of thing. You see these types of character developments. Like Cody, I think, is coming into himself. Apparently, he's a lot more interesting and entertaining than he used to be because sometimes WWE creative just doesn't have the time or the manpower to really push someone like him. And it was a good match. The bull rope was cool. The bell was an heirloom, so it added just a little bit of like personality into it where you're like, oh, he definitely doesn't want to lose that. There's stakes. And totally serviceable, passable match. There were times where people are getting yanked around by the bull rope. Sometimes simple enough. Sometimes when they're jumping off the ropes and getting pulled, you're like, holy... Some guy just got kneed in the face. Accidents happen, I guess. That's why I kind of like the homage to the face mask that you pointed out. He had to literally say, like, oh, yep, no, chuck that. But I think he literally almost face planted in Jay Lethal's knee twice? Is it fair to say twice? I saw one time for sure. I couldn't tell if the other time was a botch or not. I don't know what's going on there. But again, serviceable wrestling. I liked it. My issue again is, like, all these matches, while good, still to me didn't compare to NXT TakeOver. And again, whereas I know next to nothing about ROH and a little more about NXT at this point, NXT I thought was more entertaining.
The Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship
Yes.
Ladder match. But how did you feel that the Hardys had done 2 nights in a row with the ladder match?
I hadn't really thought too much about them doing a ladder match 2 nights in a row. But when you brought it up, I really started thinking, like, wow, that must have really sucked. That was really hard. That is some hard work. And now, we all know that wrestling isn't for everyone. Not everyone can do it. It's not easy. Something like that sounds so physically taxing to me now that I can't begin to fathom what they felt like come Monday when I think they came out again to defend their tag team titles against Gallows and Anderson. That is 3 nights in a row, which, again... to me isn't too astounding because Kevin Owens did it. Fucking Kevin Owens did it last year at SummerSlam, I think?
At NXT.
NXT, then SummerSlam, and then Raw. He was there all 3 nights. And NXT, it was a ladder match. SummerSlam, I don't remember. Just
it was Cena, I think.
Oh, it was Cena. It was against Cena. So he'd already lost his NXT champion, and then he didn't win the U.S. championship that night. And then Raw, well, he just had to go out and jump to someone, I guess. I don't remember, but... it's like, like Kevin Owens I give him the Iron Man medal for it. Same deal with these guys. It's a big deal. It's hard. And they're not young anymore. Like, I'm not even old, and I'm like, I could not. I would literally call in sick. I would probably slit my wrist just to get out of it. But
that match.
Again, I hadn't thought about it until you mentioned it. A big deal. It's a really big deal that guys of that age are still able to go out and not only put on show-stealing matches, but that their ladder matches, again, 2 nights in a row, baller status. It's weird in so much as they're not necessarily broken in WWE. Just a little weird. They came out with the Team Extreme music, which I still like. It's very nondescript. It's, it's gets people pumped and stuff. I just heard the Ring of Honor music. I like that because it's broken. It's sad, kind of dark, Good. They're good. It's weird watching this, and it's been 2 weeks since WrestleMania or whatever. And 3 weeks, I guess. And I know they're going to lose that ladder match because I think I read about it somewhere. I obviously heard about it somewhere. They didn't mention it on WWE because WWE's like, we're the only sports entertainment in town. But yeah, it's interesting thinking, oh, they're going to lose this match. And I was still engrossed watching this, going like, holy, and just so many spots. It was a spot fest. It was long, definitely long match, but just people flying through tables, people flying off of ladders, guys probably a little too old to be doing it. Young Bucks, they're young, obviously. And they're small, nimble dudes. Great match. Definitely show stealing. Good on the Hardys for being able to put on a show like that. Definitely cool that they're able to do it 3 nights in a row. For different promotions, no less. That's just baller status. I almost wish that they still had all the belts, so they literally waltzed out with like 3 tag belts a piece. And then you see them degrade somehow, and then they break even harder. I would have loved something like that. We kind of touched on that also on the podcast. Like, I picked Gallows and Anderson, I think, on the podcast, even though that's not who I picked when everyone else asked me. I think I picked Enzo and Cass because I was kind of hoping they'd get their WrestleMania moment. That shit didn't happen. The least possible thing, which I not even on the podcast did I say this. To everyone else who asked, I was like, it'd be crazy though if the Hardys came out. And that's exactly what fucking happened. I was blown away because that is like me pulling the furthest piece out of my ass. Like, I had to go like elbow deep to pull that out. And yeah, that's what I like fucking. And again, other people who know more called it, but that's because they know. Me, I was just like, that sounds insane. I like it. WrestleMania weekend was cool because of that. They made WrestleMania weekend cool, which is really weird to say because how long has it been since the Hardys have really been? And I'm going to put relevant in quotations because the TNA thing with the broken gimmick has been happening for 7 or 8 months? Over almost a year? Yeah.
So, since we're already kind of into that WrestleMania,
yeah.
We're not going to go over the whole card. What we're going to do is we're going to go over key points that we saw.
Yeah.
We just went over that. The Hardys coming out.
That was a big deal.
That was
absolutely
a big deal. And the whole crowd, when I was there, delete.
And I'm not the first person to point this out, but I noticed it along with a bunch of other people. The delete movement is literally just left to right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's just left to right in front of you. The problem is when you're in a crowd, you don't want to hit the asshole in front of you, so you angle it up. But it looks like the Nazi salute.
I saw that.
Right. And I noticed it and I was like, ooh, I hope no one points that out. Everyone on the internet pointed that out, and I'm like, I'm not mad at it, and I'm glad people aren't upset because they're just like, what culture? Shout out to Plumpy on this one. Plumpy literally said, I'm just glad. I just want everyone to know what it looks like. It's a Nazi salute. And, it's like,
well, I'm glad that you cleared up it where you're like, you don't want to hit the asshole.
And even he admits it because I'm sitting there watching this video and I'm like, oh, so he understood the same thing I did, which is you do not want to hit the person in front of you, so you angle it up. But it absolutely looks like the Nazi salute. I'm like, how do you fix that? Do you lean back a little and like aim it kind of at the air? It looks even weirder. You almost look like, I'm not gonna say what you look like, but it looked really bad when you did that. So that's exactly why you don't do it.
Exactly.
Like you said, Hardy's was the highlight. The delete, everyone was chanting it because you were there live. You were there at ground zero, as it were, just going nuts. Were you yelling delete with everyone else?
I was.
You were? Do you know anything about the Hardys?
Yes, I do.
I think I said last podcast. I know fuck all about the Hardys, except he has weird pronunciations like he's delightful and McMahon and delete. Go on. You had something.
But I think you went through all of them.
I think I went through the big ones because those are the ones I know he yelled. Stupendous, yeah. Apparently he's been tweeting in not only Broken, but then like kind of a newer gimmick. Like, what did he say? Like Savage. He's Savage Matt
It's
Hardy.
kind of like a hybrid. It's a hybrid between all of his little Matt Hardy gimmicks.
We'll get into that later. Should we just delve into it now? That he's delving into the other stuff. I guess he mentioned the V1 or V2, something like that. Look, however he reinvents himself, I think can only be good for the sport. Because really what you want is to be entertained. And he literally just went nuts with his newest gimmick. And it worked. People picked it up. I didn't at first. I was like, dude, he is losing his shit. And it wasn't until weeks later, after the final deletion, I didn't even see the final deletion. It's after watching people react to the final deletion where I'm like, he might be onto something because all these people hate it, but everyone is fucking watching it. And I think the only reason I didn't watch it was because those assholes were watching it. And I'm like, he's onto something if even people who are going to hate it are watching it.
We need to have a YouTube video, which will come up, and we'll put up Varek's YouTube reaction to the Broken gimmick, which is the final deletion.
I'll do it. I'll tell you what, man. Like, we don't even need to like do a weird clip show or anything. I will literally sit through and like watch like 3 hours of just not even the final deletion, but anything leading up to it and anything a little after it to like clarify how it all happened. I'll do it, and it's gonna be weird because I can already tell that my reaction isn't gonna be the disgust that everyone gave it at the beginning. It's probably gonna be like, oh yeah, that's. Well, this isn't fun for any of you, but yeah, I totally see what's going on here. Yeah, no, I'm down.
And I'll tell you mine because I've already seen it. I saw it and it was smiles because I like ridiculous shit. Always.
The final deletion.
The final deletion. I'm watching it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm not gonna go into any spoilers. I'm pretty sure most of you have already watched it.
I haven't.
So at the end, I'm just like, I start laughing. I'm like, this is such a beautiful disaster. All of the classic era, they hated it. Attitude era were confused by it.
It's something, when you mention that, when you just say that sentence, it doesn't surprise me that they're confused. It surprises me a little bit that they're not like, but people didn't know what we were doing, so that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, how do you not give them that leeway? In the Attitude Era, I'm sure a bunch of people were just watching it like, oh, this is garbage, this is raunchy, whatever. But Triple H is like, this is where it's at. This is where we're going to make money. And Vince McMahon is like, that's where we're going to make money. It surprises me a little bit, again, that the Attitude guys don't go, oh, weird, don't get it. But obviously they're onto something.
You know, because Mae Young delivering a hand wasn't weird.
You just like took me back there, and I want to punch you in the face for it. God bless.
Let's go ahead and one up that.
Good.
Katie Vick.
Oh, look,
Kane.
I didn't know what the hell. I remember when you were like, oh man, it's got nothing on Katie Vick. And I think it's because we discussed last time that I came in at Team Hell No, the formation of Team Hell No. And he's like, oh, this isn't even, because I thought it was weird. He's like, this isn't even as weird as Katie Vick. I'm like, what the fuck is Katie Vick? Google it. We're not going over it.
No, we're not.
Google
There's
it.
not enough time.
Yeah.
No minutes in the day.
Wait, I should do that again. But I can't show them the finger turn. Where it's Google it. Yeah.
So going back to the Matt Hardy, Brother Nero.
God damn, we're still on that. Let's roll it.
Yes, Anthem wants WWE to pay them royalties every time that they use the broken gimmick. Which WWE is like, I'll just pay you in a lump sum, and that'll be it.
Get it out.
And that's not even the problem. That is not even the problem.
No.
Why they don't bring out the broken gimmick is because Vince McMahon doesn't get it.
Now, this is the only issue that I really have with it. Vince McMahon didn't get the vaudevillains either. and completely ruined a fantastic NXT tag team. They were super hot. They were white hot coming out of NXT, but you make them look like a joke. He doesn't understand it. Little kids don't really get it either. I mean, I don't want to compare Vince McMahon to a little kid, but I guess when you get to a certain age, that's kind of what happens.
They say it goes full circle.
Exactly. And my issue again isn't necessarily with Vince McMahon. It's just that he's not learning from that mistake that he made with the Vaudevillains. He doesn't get it. That's fine, but he's got to understand that he can make money. We discussed this a little too. When you hear, like, what was the crowd? Like 90,000 or something like that? 85,000? Whatever it was. When you hear, like, a full third of them, like, at least 30,000 people chanting, delete, 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 you got to know, like you said, the money sign's got to pop up, right? The money sign's got to show up in your eyes. I don't understand what that I don't get it is. I don't understand what he's getting at with that. What doesn't he get? Money? He doesn't want the money? Fair play. I mean, he already ruined the Vaudevillains. I don't doubt that he's going to ruin any NXT. Because we're under the impression that Triple H does have control of those. So yeah, it's just like any NXT person coming out. Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's a fantastic wrestler. And he had a decent gimmick, just like I'm the good old boy. But you had to make him some like weird wrestling nerd who not only is a weird wrestling nerd, but is a weird wrestling nerd that other wrestlers who are in fact wrestling nerds look down upon. Every person in the fucking locker room is like that. You're telling me that Apollo Crews is a bad call. But you're telling me that not Baron Corbin, that's a bad call also. I can't tell if that's because I'm a dumbass or because my example is just falling apart in front of me. But I'm gonna tell you right now, like, you're telling me that like Triple H or The Rock didn't look up at their forebears, like Classy Freddie Blassie or Luthez or any number of these old guys, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, and say, wow, like I want to be that guy. You're telling me that that's not what they thought? That's kind of what they make Sami Zayn do. He's like the male Bailey, except a complete nerd that everyone makes fun of, as opposed to everyone who's like, yeah, Bailey, you know?
I believe in you, yeah.
He's
the underdog.
Yes, but he's the nerdy underdog, not the regular underdog. And it's like, man, you don't have to do that. He had a phenomenal, I'm going to throw this out there, a phenomenal match against Shinsuke Nakamura in NXT, where not only did he show that he's a great wrestler, that he can adjust his style, and they just had a strong style match. Don't know what that means? Google it. You have the network? Literally search for Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura right now. And I think that was NXT
Dallas.
Okay, I was like, it wasn't London. It was after that. But it was Dallas. Man, like, watch that match. You hear those elbows hit, and you're just like, I'm used to knife-edge chops landing, and I'm used to those fake punches landing. But you hear them just, like, elbow checking into each other's necks and jaws, and you're just like, I can't wait for Shinsuke to get up there. And he could not have been paired with a better person to make that apparent than Sami Zayn.
And that's why we got that whole chant of wrestle forever.
Yeah, fight forever.
Fight forever.
Fight forever. Yes, absolutely. Like when they're just like punching each other and getting exhausted from punching each other, that's literally the chant that goes up. And I don't even think they both go down, but people just start chanting them as they're both staggering around. Like, people are just cheering, like, just going nuts. And even watching that match, I lose my shit and I get goosebumps, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is amazing. This is fantastic. I'm going to keep throwing adjectives out there. This is astounding. I cannot believe that this is what I'm watching. This is what wrestling is going to become. And it's not just Shinsuke Nakamura. He is obviously who the spotlight's on, but you don't get the grasp as, like, you can't grasp that that's what's going to happen unless someone there is willing to take that. Because Sami Zayn was the one showing that. He's the one who literally was, like, stepping right outside the spotlight, like, yes, this is what we're doing. You put Shinsuke up against Bobby Roode. They're fine matches, but they're not the same. Like, they're not as good as that match because Bobby Roode doesn't wrestle like that. Bobby Roode doesn't do strong style, and because of that, like, his matches with Shinsuke are okay, but they're not. No one's chanting "Fight Forever."
They set the bar early.
Yeah, no one's chanting "This is awesome." Like, it's just a good match, and you're just like, yeah, I wasn't bored during it. That was cool. I hate Bobby Roode's finisher, but that's another subject. Fuck that DDT, man. But yeah, going back, like, because we completely derailed. the whole Matt Hardy thing.
So let's go back to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean,
some key
take it back
points.
around.
That Goldberg Brock Lesnar match, 5 minutes of entrances, 5 minutes of
Not
fighting.
even. I think my buddy timed it at 4 minutes of actual action,
Oh right.
which
You mean-
granted
you
is
mean
4
finishers?
times. Yeah, 4 minutes of finisher. It's definitely like 5 times as long as any other match they had before it. That's fine, but
I could do it in 10 seconds. Ready?
yes,
Ready?
I'm listening.
All right. Jackhammer,
Jackhammer,
spear,
spear,
F5,
F5.
suplex,
I think you're already over time.
and pin.
I'll allow it.
That's it. That's it.
I don't have a problem with the match itself, but it is a shame that it was a big spotlight on it, and that's what it was. It was 4 different moves, I think 6 times.
Little kids got excited though.
Little kids did get excited, but hey man, like if you're like Vince McMahon and you like big sweaty men, those are 2 of the biggest and the sweatiest. I didn't have a problem with it, but my issue, if anything, was literally that the entrances were as long as the match because that ramp was 3 miles long.
All right, stop.
Yeah.
That's enough time that we have for that match. We're gonna give them just as much time. All right. So
I think we went over on that one actually.
I
Go
think
on.
we did. So then they had a cool down match, which the cool down match
Oh
was
my
the
God.
women's match.
Look, I liked it. My issue was it was rushed.
It
and
was.
that pay-per-view was long as... I'm not going to finish that word. But man, was it long. That pay-per-view was long. Long. And I like it. I like it because they didn't cut the match. I was terrified they were going to cut it. When you look at time, when you look at your watch and you're like, whoa, there's like, we're already at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever time zone you're in.
Which I'm over there.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're almost hitting midnight, and I'm like,
And you're
Are
still
they-
in the
did they-
venue.
no,
You're not even.
yeah.
You're not even trying to exit the parking lot. You're in the venue
I'm like,
watching us.
are they gonna cut the match? I was like, that sucks, because they were gonna be on the pre-show.
Yes.
And they kicked them to the main show.
Because Twitter threw a shit fit. Twitter was not having it. They were like, "What's up with this? I thought there was a women's revolution." But hey, pre-show. No, again, not having it. Move it up.
right, and that match was brushed.
Real quick. Can you imagine if they cut that shit after that? If they literally were like, "Okay, we'll move it up," and then just cut it all together, would people literally have set themselves on fire? Yeah, I was worried they were gonna cut it. I thought they were gonna cut it.
Undertaker versus Roman Reigns.
Look, man, that was the last match. That should look, and I think I mentioned. I've probably told people personally before. This, like, there were a lot of matches that the Undertaker should have had go on last. I think he had truly great matches with people like CM Punk, even maybe at least one of them with HBK, maybe one of them with Triple H. Ric Flair. There are some matches that should have been at the end of the night. This was not one of them.
All right, Varek. So, what are your fondest memories of the Undertaker now that he is supposedly retired?
Oh man, when he wrestled the Giant Gonzalez, that one. No, not that. When he was teaming up with Nathan Jones. No, not that one either. No, man, like, I don't have too many memories of him at WrestleMania because they all kind of blend together of him just like ripping people apart, doing the choke slam, the last ride, walking the ropes, old school, snake eyes, all that good stuff. It all just kind of blends together. But I think one of my favorites, technically, if I really think about it, might be him fighting Ric Flair. Ric Flair just wearing a red mask at the end of it, bleeding all over the place. Watching these 2 old school guys go at it. I think that was a good one. Because I was never a really big Undertaker fan. What about you?
I actually watched the Undertaker debut.
Mm.
I watched the Undertaker debut. I watched
Survivor Series.
Tuesday in Texas
Mm-hmm.
when he won the belt. He's been part of one of the people I've always known. And I saw him turn into the American Badass.
Yes.
I saw them.
Arguably one of the worst turns ever. Go on.
Right. I saw him turn back into the Undertaker. I
Yeah.
saw him corporate ministry. I
Ah.
saw him. I mean, he's been one of the constant figures that always has been wrestling. Cause,
Yeah.
we have Hulk Hogan, and he'll go out and he'll be in WCW,
Mm-hmm.
and then he'll make sex tapes, and then he'll come back.
Which arguably are fantastic. No, I'm just kidding. Go on.
But Undertaker's always been there, so it burned a hole in everybody. Everybody felt that collectively.
Yeah.
Whether you're a avid wrestling fan or you're just the casual wrestling fan that's like, oh, Undertaker's still there? Cool. You know what? I'll go ahead and watch that match.
Same reason people liked Lesnar versus Goldberg. People walk by and they're like, oh, that guy's still wrestling? Yeah.
I'll go ahead and pay $9.99 to put it on.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, unfortunately, the dead man is down now. Thanks to Mr.
Not
Roman Reigns.
Confirmed, but yeah.
Quotation.
Yeah. I mean, it looked pretty clear cut from what he was doing. I dig. When you phrase it like that, because I was kind of putting it in the WrestleMania mold. If you tell me like what's one of my favorite moments of his, it was real quick. Just thinking about it, him fighting Jeff Hardy on Raw for the belt, him just decimating Jeff and Jeff not staying down. I was like, oh this is Jeff getting pushed up. And I didn't think about it in those terms back then, but I was like, oh man, this is Jeff taking the stand. This is him showing he can hang, because he literally. Undertaker won, walked away with the belt. He's like, I'm not done with you yet on the mic. And it's just like, Undertaker shakes his head and starts walking back down. He's like, I'm going to put a beat on this kid. But I think after putting one beating down after the match, when, Jeff Hardy yells again, Undertaker comes back down, and what happens? Just picks him up and shakes his hand.
Respect.
Respect. And I was like, and that wasn't even like Attitude. That was right after the Attitude. That must have been like 01-ish. Because it was late. It was near when I stopped watching it. But yeah, that's probably one of my fonder memories. And only because I think it actually impacted me emotionally. I didn't get to see Shawn Michaels fight him at WrestleMania for the career, which it would have cut me down to my bones. That was a good one.
Those matches were really good. Both of them.
Yeah. Google it. But yeah, that was a big one. Undertaker, just in general, really, really big deal. Me less so, because I came in the Attitude Era, and he was hurt for a lot of it. But whatever.
Rest in peace, dead man.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Dong.
So that brings us to the Rock shakeup, Raw and SmackDown shakeup. Actually.
Oh man, Raw and SmackDown shakeup. This, I could go on for a long time, but I'm going to hit really key points real quick. Apollo Crews, I think, yes, wasted in SmackDown, totally going to be misused on Raw. No effing way he's getting over on Raw. Beauty and the Man Beast to Raw, also a big mistake. No way they're getting any kind of screen time. Alexa Bliss, total win. They've already shown as much. They're going to push her, but she's just great. She's 5 feet of fury. I totally buy it. She's a little cute girl who I totally buy will beat my ass. Charlotte moving over, I think still good. Total win, like you said. I do wish it was her and someone else of substance. Dare I say Sasha, because the Boston crowd went fucking nuts. And I hadn't even thought about Sasha until then, but they started chanting, "We want Sasha," and I'm like, oh. They already, because at this point, they had already announced Tamina, which I knew was going to happen the second they were like, this second generation wrestler. I'm like, oh, this is the total, like, pull the rug out from under you. But then, like, when people started chanting, "We want Sasha," I'm like, oh my god, I hadn't even thought about that. That would be a massive coup if Sasha went over to SmackDown and just started railing people. Like, yeah, I'm totally down for 2 horsewomen on Raw and 2 horsewomen on SmackDown. No, I guess that is what happened, but that's not. Those weren't the 2 that I thought.
See, do you think those 2 women's divisions are right? I mean, we got Emma back on Raw.
No, I think SmackDown is still a little lacking, and I know I'm being a little greedy saying this, but I want Asuka. I want Asuka on SmackDown, because I think on SmackDown you do have stronger women's talent than and not even stronger in terms of like heat. Well, maybe heat, but in terms of talent, because you've got talent spread all over the Raw roster. You've got Bailey, Sasha, Mickey James, Alexa Bliss. Those are already 4 big ones. Then you've got Nia Jax, and Dana Brooke is green as she's as green as man. I keep thinking of dirty stuff. That says a lot of things about me. But no, she's as green as month-old ham in your fridge. So
Green eggs in that.
I'm just gonna say that was my JR popping out right there. Who I really wish would come back. That's all I'm saying.
Full time?
Oh god, he doesn't even have to be full time. Give me every other week, I'll be happy.
All right.
Especially with Morrow leaving because of JBL. Balls. No, I think Raw has a good spread. Boom. Talent all over the women's division. And while I think the women's division on SmackDown is okay, I think that the talent is okay, but they're getting pushed better. I think they're getting written better. Like everyone is there. Like Carmelsworth is there. Why is Carmelsworth there? There's no reason. But hey, they're written well, so I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it. I'll buy Ellsworth doing stuff.
So, I think that they should have probably brought Carmella to Raw, and, then they could have had Enzo and Cass poke fun at Ellsworth.
Absolutely.
You know what? I think starting next podcast, we're going to go ahead and maybe have our own segment where we create our own storylines.
Oh,
just for that. One for you, one for me. And
I don't like homework, dog. There are any number of ways they could have done that better. So I went through most of the Raw stuff. SmackDown stuff. We talked about. We literally said one of them. The women's Charlotte Flair, total win because she's just great. She'll bring a new flavor to it, especially since they lost to Alexa Bliss, one of their biggest heels. She's a good heel also.
What about KO?
Oh God! Look, KO had to go to SmackDown, which kind of annoys me, but I think he's going to be like the Cream. He is going to rise straight to the top. I know you agree with me. You feel it? How can you not? KO is great. He's technical as shit. He's awesome.
You have Shinsuke there for him to fight. You have AJ Styles.
The main event card is going to go bonkers over the next couple of months because you don't even have just great wrestlers. You have, dare I say, phenomenal wrestlers in AJ Styles, like you said, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens. What's the one I'm forgetting for no reason?
Jinder Mahal.
That is not who I went with. Sami Zayn.
But there you
Jinder Mahal is the #1 contender. What the is going on? It's madness. Do you understand? Sheer madness that Jinder Mahal is the #1 contender.
And I'll debunk that. Jinder Mahal.
Stop. You said stop. You said debunk. I want clarification on your.
Jinder Mahal is a big guy now.
A big sweaty man, yes.
B, his muscles are bulging out.
Mm-hmm.
So that equals.
That's because he is literally injecting bull testosterone into his eyeballs.
Which equals into Vince McMahon being. We gotta push him.
We gotta push him. Gotta make him look strong. Trips.
So there you go.
Look, I understand that. I do understand why he got pushed. Real quick, it's just madness to me. I understand SmackDown is the land of opportunity, but if you told me to pick in that 6-pack challenge, if you literally told me, give me 4 of your picks as to who's going to win this match, Jinder Mahal would not have been there.
All right, so who else is there? Mojo?
Mojo, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Jinder Mahal. I literally would have put Eric Rowan and Jinder Mahal in the bottom part. They would not have been my picks. And not because they're bad. The only reason I think Jinder Mahal is bad is because I literally saw a video, because I don't watch Raw anymore, remember, where he literally concussed Finn Balor in his last match on Raw. Knocked him the fuck out with an elbow. So much, and you say, oh, no, it's fake. Fucking Finn Balor had burn marks on his forehead where he hit the canvas because he got knocked the fuck out. That's a big deal. Now, not to me, because I'm not the one who got concussed. But to Finn Balor, who woke up with that shit on his forehead, he's like, this is a big problem. I'm glad I'm not working with him anymore. And SmackDown, or Vince McMahon, whoever, was like, yeah, that's who we're pushing because it's the curveball. No, look, I don't have a problem with Jinder Mahal, real quick. Just, it's unexpected, fair play, but that's not who I would have picked. I literally would have given it to Luke Harper or Sami Zayn. Because I'm like, they're good. People like Luke Harper, people like Sami Zayn. And yeah, you can say like, oh, well, why do they deserve to be? Because they want a six-pack challenge for the number one contenders. That's all you have to say. You gave them the fuel to push off, to enter that orbit, you know? But no, you gave it to Jinder Mahal. Why? Because you want new and exciting matchups? It's definitely new, exciting. I mean, okay. I'm worried that man could crush my skull with his thighs. He's definitely thrilling in that respect.
Well, there's some interesting weeks to come up out of Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
But as far as us, we're done for tonight.
We probably should have covered that first though, because I've got a lot to say about that shakeup. You know, and I mean, like, you haven't even really given me your thoughts. You seem to kind of agree with what I'm going with, because for the people who are listening, he's nodding a lot and kind of going, huh. I don't know if I've really shed any light on it. Was there anything that popped out at you? Let me interview you, though, about that. Apollo Crews?
Apollo Crews, either way, Raw or SmackDown, he's just going to be mid-card.
But
he's not going to... They're not going to push him. If anything, they'll push him maybe for the IC, but...
Mid-card, right.
Yeah. The IC belt right now is the belt because Brock's out. They're not going to push him.
The Colognes going to SmackDown. The Shining Stars turning into the Colognes.
Because everyone hated them. They're trying
ready-made heels, baby.
They're trying to reinvent.
Okay.
Nothing's going to happen. They're trying to revive the tag team division.
Futile effort?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen until you bring in either the Bucks or the Briscoes.
Whoa, that's heavy. That is a heavy accusation, sir.
That's an injection. That WWE needs. Not even Raw or SmackDown. That WWE needs.
That is stupid heavy-handed. One, because Raw tag team division is now strong. That tag team division is strong. So the Colognes are the weakest, and they get traded to SmackDown. The fucking one of the most charismatic tag teams gets moved to Raw, which is Beauty and the Man Beast. And that didn't even happen on TV. That's madness to me. Madness, sir. The women we went over, tag teams we went over, mid-carders. They switch Callisto and Sin Cara. Why?
Not even needed.
Why? Doesn't make any sense. So some of the superstar shakeup is balls. So I'll give it 3 beer caps on the ground.
So I'll give it C+.
So shakeup, cool in that it gives us weird, awkward interactions with some superstars. SmackDown seems like it'll benefit from a lot of cool dream matches. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see if they capitalize on it.
All right, for tonight, my name is Anavrin.
This is Varek. Checking you later, peeps.
We'll see you later. Have a good night.